welcome back for part 4 of how to tailor XA to meet your company's needs. Uh, we're going to be dealing with other ways of centralizing data. Um, part 1 looked at how I use standard XA features to replace a custom distribution system. Part 2 was workspace design. Part 3 is presentation schemes. So now I want to talk about part 4, how we can put together data um, to really hone in on the user's experience and make getting information they need a lot easier. So the use of card files and various card types can help join information from multiple business objects all on one card file in one place. For example, I did one called Inventory Review Workspace. And it's a card file filled with various card types. Not really a workspace, but the idea is that from the item warehouse business object, a user can view and transact data from one place. Inventory Review Workspace. So I'm going to do an overview of what this looks like. So I start off with the item warehouse business object initially. I used a workspace to put on an application card and default to view and subset and sort. So, maybe I just wanted to sort to items in warehouse one, or maybe finished goods or whatnot. So what we did is I set this up uh, basically kind of like the idea of using a workbench. Um, But all in all, there's when you double click on an item in the item warehouse business object, it pulls up a window that has 7 tabs. So it's set up like workspaces with views and subsets, and it's identical to views in the business object they relate to. So that's like using list cards. And there's compound cards that pull those list cards together. And they have the toolbars and the menus are all controlled like workspaces, but on the card level. So when I make a list card, I can choose what I want on the toolbar, what I want on the display maintain menu. And if I click, so the example on the screen now is the main inventory screen. So I have in the top, I have the item locations that relate to that item warehouse. If I highlight one of those item locations, right click, I can do my maintain and do transactions. I can do display and I can get more details. I can go over and, see transaction history for that specific location. On the bottom, we use license plates for our third-party scanning products. So I want to know all the license plates that relate to this item warehouse. So I can see those down below. So that's my main inventory view. Um, on the second tab, and it's the same as doing right-click item warehouse customer orders. So I have information on that next tab where I can see what customer orders are open. And then going right along, I did, open customer orders, open pick list. Say it's a purchase item, I want open purchase orders. Or it's a manufacturer item, I want manufactured items. I want to see all their orders. Um, and then I did 2 different transaction history list cards. I did one that shows me 12 month sales history. So if it's an item we purchase, it's not going to show up anything. That's okay. And then I did another one with the past 3 months transactions, and that's every transaction that's happened on that item warehouse for the last 3 months. Um, and you can do that for whatever kind of time frame you want to. If you're doing 1 million transactions a day, then you're not going to want to see 3 months. That's going to be too much. But you can also subset because it's a list card. So maybe I only want to see IA transactions, or maybe just like I did with the 12-month sales, I only showed SA transactions. So there's some options there. Um, So the idea is here is that for finished goods, you know, customer service can go in here and see what's available, who has open orders, and who has a pick list open and has, pick list has items scanned to it already, what's already picked, who's it's going to. They can look on the 12-month history tab, sales history tab, and see, who's bought it in the last 12 months. They can see open manufacturing orders and see who has MOs open and who are making stuff or when's the next manufacturing order due to be done or where's it scheduled. So one place customer service can get a lot of information without leaving and looking at this by the item level. Um, And funny enough, you can get to the inventory review workspace um, from the all customer ATP screen, where if they highlight one of the items, they can click up in the toolbar, item warehouse details, and it brings up this card file so that they can see all this information and not have to just subset and see everything in there. Um, in that full all customers ATP just to see one item. They can go here, they see all the open orders. They can do everything in that screen, um, like adjusting dates and rerunning the soft allocation. They can assign the ship codes there and the ship dates there, so they can do it all from within these windows. Um, Purchasing can see inventory levels. They can see what POs are open and what transactions have happened, so they can keep on top of their stuff. So all business object transactions are available, and each list card can have the view subset and sort change. So you can even you click the little query button and you can change what view subset and sort you're seeing in there, just the same as if you were in the business object. Um, it has all the functionality of a workbench, but it's more responsive. It gives you more options of different stuff to do. Um, and then you add this into Netlink release 10, which has a split view. You don't need to cascade workbenches. You can have this pulled up and go line by line, and it will update this window, this card file, as you switch lines, just like a workbench would work. So a lot of functionality in one centralized place where multiple people can go and get uh, different job roles can go and see their information. Shipping goes and uses this so they can see same thing, customer service wants to see what's in my inventory, where who has orders, what do I got picked? When do I have more coming in? Are they making more? Are we buying more? Who have we sold it to? Stuff like that, where they want to see their transaction history. So, and maybe they, from the inventory review WB card, they want to see specifically what happened with a certain license plate, or they want to see what happened in a certain item location, and they can do a right click display item location transaction history and see exactly what's happened just for that location. So all the functionality from one central point and with all the drill downs and whatnot. So here's how it looks. In release 10. You don't, like I said, you don't need to drill down because you have the split window, um, and it changes for you as you move down the list on the left side. Um, so using the same concept, we I did one by location as well. So maybe I want to see all the items in a location. Maybe I'm out in the warehouse and I'm, doing inventory and I'm more concerned with what's supposed to be in that location. So I can go in, I can see, you know, on the right side is my split card. So I can see my compound card with my inventory, all the items that are in that location, and the card below it are all the license plates that are in that location. Doesn't matter what items they are. But I can select one of these items from the item location tab or chunk of the compound card, and from there I can click the item warehouse details, And that'll take me right over to regular inventory review by item, and then I can see all the item details from there. So all these things are interconnected. Um, so the little gear up in the right corner is what makes this split happen, the split card. So you can change it from having split view to not having split view. So it's up to you what you want to do. Um, and you have the ability to drill down to all the data you need from here, just the same as you would from any other business object. Um, so I just want to put out there some more um, as we trail off from this presentation, that there's some extended abilities with an integrator to connect data. So a lot of these things that I've put together, I had to build relationships and integrator on the business objects to help bring this data together for views, subsets, sorts, and related cards. Um, it also provides information to be used in subscriptions or user exits and system link requests. So integrator offers a lot of cool things once you get into it that you don't have to be a programmer to know how to use. Um, Creating business objects allows you to pull files from outside of XA to be used in XA. For example, the ship car file that I built to connect ship code that's being used on the customer order line item to another table so that I can keep track of things like freight and freight quotes, and maybe I want to keep track of what invoice came in from the freight carrier so I can relate it because there's not really a great way to tie freight together with an XA. So we kind of built the bridge to do it. Um, Subscriptions are great. So you can send out email notifications. I can send out system link requests to do transactions, update files. Uh, I can call host programs on the 400. So, maybe I want to call TLS for to print a label. Well, I do a system link request that updates a file that's used for a label format, and then I call the label program to go print it. And, so there's a lot you can do there. And it's stuff that'll just off those subscriptions happen on a trigger when something comes up. So if I, have an issue transaction or I have a receipt transaction, let's say I do an RP, I want to print out labels, license plate labels to stick on all my product that just came in, all my new material. I do that through a subscription. RP happens and it generates and kicks off labels for me. So as far as the user is concerned, they're just doing a receipt and everything comes out for them. So there's some really cool things you can do. So examples I was using was the ship car file that I built to uh, go along the with the ship code concept of what we did. And it's needed because what they were doing was they would go in and update the customer order header file every time they did a second shipment, third shipment, fourth shipment. So as far as when I go back and look, I only see one customer or one carrier related to that customer order header file. But granted, yes, when the shipment goes through, customer order history gets that information. Um, and then that's a perfect world. If something goes wonky, you don't get that same information. But it also is if they're scheduling a couple different things at a time, maybe part of that order is going on one carrier, part's going on the other, and they're getting picked up within a day or two of each other. You can't do that and update that customer order if the lines are all have a pick list because it goes to status 15 and it doesn't have anything available to pick and won't let you make changes. So this ship car file allowed us to do that. So as you see, I have ship code, I have a scheduled ship date if I want to put it in there. I have what carrier, I have whether it's confirmed, I have a freight quote in there, any special freight terms or special shipment instructions. Freight terms is another thing that you can only assign on the customer order header level. So this gives us the opportunity to do it on the lower level, on the line item level. Um, So we also added in to this file so that they can put in um, the invoice number and invoice amount, which then goes back and matches up to vendor invoices so that we can make a connection directly from the ship code and BOL straight through to the freight invoice that came inside. So we can match up and say, hey, you quoted us 2,100 and we paid you 3,000. So, or, vice versa. So you're learning a lot of different stuff in that one example. Um, and that was, one way. And in this file, as when we upgrade to release 10, it didn't affect anything because this is a business object that was brought in the integrator. So it exists within the IDF. It's transacted and maintained within the IDF. It's related to everything in the IDF. So, we're not DBUing, we're not doing outside green screen programs to update this stuff. So everything happens through integrator and within the IDF. So when we move to release 11, it should come over and work just perfectly fine the same, other than the rewrite a pick pack ship, but should still work the same. Um, an example of subscriptions. I have here where I do an email notification when a purchase receipt occurs. Okay, so I set up my email message, my who I'm sending it to, who it's from, the subject, if I want to send a link to it, or power link to it. I've never got the power link to do anything, but the netlink one will take you right to netlink to that transaction. Um, so, but I can use the message builder below and I can build out what's going to be seen in this email. So I built it all, what fields to pull. There's the message builder comes up. You select the attribute. You can write little messages in between. You can line it up all pretty. And on the right side is the example of the email I got in Outlook. And it gave me, as I've listed, it gives me all the information on on a receiving ticket, the information that I wanted, so I can verify I received correctly, or this is information I want to go to. It's information I want accounting to see, so accounting wants to use this to check against something. So just part of what you can do. Um, Other things with subscriptions you can do. And I actually will be posting a video on, I posted one on using subscriptions and notifications to send emails. I'm going to also do one on using system link requests. So you can use it to add data to the file, used to print labels. You can update files. You can use system link requests to update anything within the IDF. But a file has to exist in the IDF to be updated with system link. So I posted a video on how you can take the client link request for a transaction, because when there is no option in PowerLink to get the system link request off of the transaction template. So there is in the bottom right corner client link request. So I put out a video here that you can see how to convert a power link or how to convert client link to system link request. So pretty simple. You change a couple naming things and you're good to go. And then you can use the builder tool for the message box here. So you change it to custom, and you can use this message box builder just like you do for the email subscriptions, where you build out how it goes. You pick your attributes, and you can you choose this value, you copy it and you plop it in, but where anything that has an ampersand, field name ampersand, those are the generic values for where it tells it to fill what's in that field in that incoming transaction or whatever notification is updating this. And you handle these subscriptions just like you do with presentation schemes. You use subsets. So you tell it when to trigger it to do this. And it's really great tool. And I'll put out a more advanced video on how to use these system link requests. So here's an example of what the system link request will look like. You don't need the login information in that because it's going through system link outbox in Link Manager. So it's sending it through on its own. It adds the work handle and all the login information for you. Um, and important note, the file that a system link request would update does have to be a business object in Integrator. I think I said that already, but I just wanted to point that out again. Um, Another example here is where I had after it sent out that request to update a file, then I had step 2 of my label printing program where it did a third subscription, and the third subscription called a CL and to build a TL, call the TL Ashford print program. So and I have parameters that you have to use to call that CL program. So you can define those parameters here, and it sends it. It calls the program just like you're calling it from a command line. Fills it with those parameters and runs the program. Um, and you can also, I then call a CL program um, that goes in as part of this CL. It's called to print, and then after it prints, it does an SQL statement to go clear the file out, the label file out, because I don't want to continuously, keep printing labels over and over for the same things. I want what I'm sending right now to be what prints. Um, so those are a few examples of subscriptions. Um, But yeah, to wrap it up, um, be creative. XA comes with some cool tools to enhance user experience. Um, you can provide a really specialized interface that, your users can all be working off the same business objects and not know it and think they're doing their own thing because it looks different. And, you know, you don't have to worry about having, purchasing has their custom files and shipping has their custom files. Everything is coming off one file set of business objects, and they all work interchangeably, and it's all within the IDF and it's standard XA. And you know, I do most of this stuff. I am not a programmer, and so you don't need any custom programming. This is stuff that, a super user or, fairly more advanced user can learn how to do, as I have, and put this together. And part of making these video series for how to XA is that there's not a lot of information on this stuff out there, and I've learned it through trial and error, and I think it's time to push out some of this information so other people and other companies can learn to do this stuff and move ahead and get out of green screen and get up to release 10 and be ready for release 11 and be some great stuff. So, be creative, have fun with it, and thank you for viewing.